Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today to discuss an important topic that affects every single one of us: freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is a fundamental human right that allows us to express our opinions and ideas without fear of censorship or punishment. However, I'm here to argue that freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequence. I will do this by giving examples of misinformation from freedom of speech, hate spread because of freedom of speech, and I am qualified to speak on this topic because I have done extensive research. First and foremost, we need to clarify what we mean by freedom of speech. This term is often misunderstood to mean that we can say whatever we want without any repercussions or consequences. However, that is simply not true. Freedom of speech means that we have the right to express our opinions without interference from the government or any other external authority. It does not mean we can say whatever we want without any repercussions. For my first point, I will tell you of news outlets spreading misinformation. From an article by CNN posted in November of 2020, they wrote about how the Fox News network's senior most executives and highest profile hosts chose not to disclose what they believed to be the truth of the election in fear that facts would alienate their Fox News audience and throw the highly profitable business into ruin. The fact is, every action we take, every word we speak, has consequences. And this is true in our personal lives, and it is true in society as a whole. When we exercise our right to free speech, we must also be held accountable for what we say. If we say something that is harmful, offensive, or untrue, we must be prepared to face the consequence of our words. Some people argue that freedom of speech should be absolute and that there should be no limits or consequences to what we say. But this view is dangerous and misguided. The truth is, speech can cause harm, it can spread hate, incite violence, and perpetrate discrimination. When this happens, we must be held accountable for our words. A good friend of mine, who remains anonymous on his behalf, has been bullied with freedom of speech. The only reason was because of his skin color. Some people argue, let me give you an example. Imagine a person who regularly makes racist or sexist comments. They may argue that they are exercising their right to free speech, but the fact is, their words are harmful and can cause real harm to marginalized communities. If they are not held accountable for their actions, their words could be led to discrimination, prejudice, and even violence against these groups. We must also consider the harm that can be caused by false or misleading speech. In a world where misinformation spreads quickly because of the internet, it is more important than ever that we hold people accountable for their words. When someone spreads false information that can cause harm, they must be prepared to face the consequences. In conclusion, freedom of speech is a fundamental human right that we must cherish and protect. But we also must remember that with this right comes responsibility, and we must be accountable for our words and prepared to face the consequences of our actions. When we exercise our right to free speech, we must be responsible when we do so, and with an awareness of the harm that our words can cause. I hope I have persuaded you on how freedom of speech does not mean freedom without consequences.